Let the record reflect we have reconvened with all members present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome all. Nice audience for something special happening in a few minutes. This is our last regular meeting of the year, so winding down quickly. A couple of announcements. Employee of the month for December is Patrolman Patrick Strafacci of the Police Department for his professionalism in assisting a person concerned for his friend in Florida who had posted a suicide threat. After being unable to locate the person through the Tampa Police Department, Officer Strafacci checked her Facebook account, determined where she attended college, and contacted the school. The campus police then located the person and confirmed that she was safe and being cared for. So that's someone going above and beyond. So please congratulate Patrick Strafacci for being Employee of the Month and possibly saving a life. And anniversary for the month of December, Michael Piano, the Superintendent of Electric Utility, 35 years on December 7th. So please congratulate Michael. And a reminder that our reorganization meeting, we have changed a little bit. It's not on New Year's Day. It will be on the January 2nd, Monday at 5 p.m. So please come and join us as we recognize Rob Catanello's service to the borough for his past 6 years and swear in Pat Rowe for his second year and Maureen Byrne for her first term. Pat Rowe for his second term, not second year, and Maureen for his first term. Down below here. Welcome. You've got to test the equipment ahead of time. Recently, we passed an ordinance that created the position of lieutenant in the fire department, and then at our last meeting, we named the lieutenants, and we're now going to swear them in. So can I have Kyle Wickman, Kevin Williams, Ryan Tapman, and James Blair, please come forward. Hold the Bible and okay, kind of gather around and raise your right hand and left hand on the Bible. There we go. We're doing all together because that's the way the department works. Okay, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kyle Wickman,
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of Lieutenant of the Madison Fire Department according to the best of my ability. I further solemnly swear the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
And I will bear true faith. Sorry, I'll try that again. It's been a long day. That I will bear true faith.
I will bear true faith.
And allegiance. To the same. And to the governments. Established in the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. So help me God. Congratulations and welcome aboard. All right. We already. Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done.
So that significant others become important.
Yep. Spouses, significant others, please come forward as to put the badges on. Relatives, whoever wants to, whoever has the official duty of pinning. There we go.
I love his.
A couple more shots and we'll let them sign. It's not official until they sign anyway. Just that president ceremonial.
That's so cute. Congratulations.
Sergeant Plumstead, please come forward. I have a proclamation to present. This is a special time of year when we celebrate with family and friends, but it's also a time to be extraordinarily concerned and safe about what we do when we celebrate, and that is do not drink and drive. You not only put your own life in danger, but that of many others. So we have a proclamation to support the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2016 year-end holiday crackdown. Whereas impaired drivers on our nation's roads kill more than 10,000 people each year and cost our society more than $37 billion annually. And whereas 29% of motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey in 2014 were alcohol-related. And whereas an enforcement crackdown is planned to combat impaired driving. And whereas the season at the end of the year is traditionally a time of social gatherings which include alcohol. Whereas the state of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over year-end holiday crackdown. And whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from December 9th, 2016 through January 1, 2017. And whereas increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives for roadways. Now therefore I, Robert H. Conley, Mayor of Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim support for Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2016 year-end holiday crackdown from December 9th through January 1st and pledge to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. Sergeant.
Thank you, Chief. Please, thank you.
Chief, please would like to thank the council and the mayor for their support. And I'll say thank you very much.
As I always say, family and friends, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but we won't take it personally if you leave now.
Can we sneak out with you?
We have to keep the doors open, so please keep the conversations quiet right outside the door.
That'll fix everything. Huh?
I'm trying to remember now.
No, I'm better right now.
I don't know. We gotta talk to the That's an important quite well. Then by all means.
Good right now.
What else?
Can do this and do it right next time. And this is the thing in the January 2nd. What?
Okay, reports from committees.
You want it done, so let's.
Utilities, Mr. Wolkowitz.
let's
Thank you, Mayor.
oh, that's right. All right, I'll be kind to wait
A
for
little noisy, but I'll persevere.
9.
I'm sure by now everyone's noticed how seasonal and very attractive our downtown is. We have the electric department to thank for that. They not only set up the tree at Waverly Place, but they actually trimmed it, which I think was above and beyond. Is there something? What's going on?
Okay, try it now, see if you're...
We okay? All right. So they actually trimmed it, and they decorated, and they hung all the wreaths in the commercial district. So we owe them a big thanks. Certainly, I think well beyond their job description. They also cleaned out the transformer vaults in the commercial district. And if you go over to Lucy D. Field, you'll notice there is now an attractive flagpole that's in the middle of the field. Actually, it's between the two operating fields, and it's appropriately lit. Again, thanks for our electric department. As for water, water sampling, I always feel I should mention this, but water sampling for state-mandated testing is an ongoing project that indeed continues. There was testing of a backflow preventer between Fairleigh Dickinson University and Madison. It was tested and passed. And I talked about earlier some work done on fire hydrants at Drew. That work at Drew and at Giralda Farms is now complete, and everything has been flow tested, flushed, and working properly. So we're in great shape here as we near the end of the year. very brief finance report, since
Yep,
Councilman
thank you. I was going to ask you to do that.
One is that the budget process, as you, I'm sure, can imagine, is very much ongoing. We're quite deep into it, nothing yet to talk about at these meetings, with the exception of our capital projections for the next 5 years, which is on the agenda and will be discussed shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Health, Mr. Catanello.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Oh, I got all sorts of volume. So this month, in fact, a little bit too much. This month is National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, and it also is AIDS Awareness Month. The health department has, I'm actually a little embarrassed to read some of the stuff, so I won't. So the health department has put together a wonderful pamphlet that I believe is available at the door. And thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety, Ms. Vitale.
I have no reports.
Community Affairs, Ms. Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to announce that the Burnett Trail from Burnett Road to the Madison Recreation Complex is open for walkers. The trail comes up and around the rear of the community garden, so it's pretty exciting. So please go down and try it out. And the downtown survey is up and on our rosenet.org website, and we would like everyone to take the opportunity to fill out that survey and give their opinion about what is good about Madison and what we need to maybe change. And then finally, last Tuesday, the council, the planning board, and the housing authority all met downstairs in the courtroom for an affordable housing meeting. Right now, in the state of New Jersey, the courts are deciding exactly what our responsibility is for low and moderate income housing in each municipality. We heard from one of our planners on what our present condition is and how we can possibly meet some of the numbers that have been thrown out before the municipality of Madison. It's a very good meeting. I think we can probably see it on our website. The PowerPoint that was done, it was very, very helpful, and I'm very optimistic that we will come to a satisfactory conclusion on what Madison's needs are for housing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works and Engineering, Mr. Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, as Mr. Wolkowitz noted, Mr. Vogel will be up here shortly giving us an overview of the 2017 capital projects that are going to be considered for next year. And he's got it broken out by department, including water and the electric department. From the rest of the engineering department for roads, the final reimbursement for the Ridgedale Ave work was received from the state of New Jersey. The initial reimbursement request for the Prospect Street work is in the amount of about $130,000 has been submitted to the state. And a grant application is also scheduled to be submitted to Morris County Community Development Block Grant Program for the Plain Street improvements. This exists because there's a census tract that recognized by the Housing and Urban Development as an area of low and moderate income. For buildings, bids for the soil removal and site remediation at the rear of Hartley Dodge are due on January 24th. And progress drawings for the Hartley Dodge Memorial improvements, the plaza work, and the east wing by our architects are scheduled to be submitted to the County of Morris Historic Preservation Trust as part of the grant process on or before January 9th. And for the, God bless you, sewers, a meeting with Rapid Pump and Meter Company was held last week for the North Street Pump Station. Several submittals were made. The company intends to start its work by March 6th and should be complete by the end of July. And the County of Morris has also confirmed that it will participate in the Elmer Street Storm Sewer Project. And the Lane Company has been awarded development work for Well D and anticipates starting work at the beginning of January, weather permitting. Finally, from Public Works, this is the last week for yard waste pickup. We are also in the final round of doing leaf pickup, and they have started or will be planning to flood the ice pond this week. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any communications or petitions?
None received, Mayor.
Right, now we're on to the first of two invitations for discussion from the public. This is limited to items on our agenda discussion, which includes the Open Space Recreation and Historic Preservation Quarterly Report and the 2017 Capital Budget Plan. or you may comment or ask questions on any of the resolutions that are posted. The ordinances will have a hearing, so you may comment on any ordinances that have hearings. And if you want to make comments on other things, that will be coming up after the ordinance hearing. Anyone wishing to comment under those guidelines, please step forward. Eileen.
Hello, everybody. Marlene Dolan, 16 Sherwood Avenue. I'm also a Borough employee at the Health Department. In reading the resolutions, I just had a question about 337. I read it when I saw the agenda prior to coming to the meeting and just wondered how this came to be and the timeline, and is it definite or is it pending?
Jim?
Yep, I can take that, Marlene. It's not definite. The council's being asked to authorize a possible contract with Cranford. It's something that we've been working on with them and negotiating with them. I think we submitted one to them, or a contract proposal to them a while ago. Another one was submitted to them within the last few weeks. They're considering it, but they're also considering a lot of other options. So given the fact that this was the last council meeting, we asked council for the resolution to accept an authorization to accept the contract, assuming it was acceptable in terms to what the attorney and borough administrator agreed to.
So timing tied to year end that to keep things moving.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment or ask questions on the resolutions or the two agenda items? Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting. Open Space Quarterly Report. Oscar, you want to?
Right. As requested by or required by ordinance, I'm submitting this as our final report for the year. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The numbers are up there on the board. As you can see, we drew down the balance, and it shows you a picture of what's going to happen in 2017. And if the bleacher project is carried out, which I assume it will be, I think the parents are raising the money now, we will see this 320 number go away pretty quickly with the contribution towards the bleacher project over at the embassy. This chart, I don't know whether, Jim, you have this chart. Wherever you are. Yeah, you do. It just shows you 3/4 of the Open Space Trust Fund goes towards recreation. Small piece goes to historic preservation, and the other is open space and passive recreation, the purple. So you can see that we spend most of our funds on recreation.
Great. Rob?
Thank you. Can we go back to the first slide? Yes. If I'm not mistaken, when the Museum of Early Trades and Crafts people came and spoke to us earlier in the fall, they said that because of some issues they were having in grants, et cetera, that they had no longer a firm grasp on what the project would be and how much money they would spend. They also said that they were not going to seek funds from us in 2017, and that in fact they were thinking about giving us money back in 2016. So my questions are, have things changed? If so, what has changed that it's going to go from them giving us money back in 2016 and not taking money in 2017 to now where there's no money coming back in 16 and we got them in for 125 in 17?
Go ahead, Jim.
I'll take it. So this is estimates for 2017 on the outflows. It is possible, and this is all up for council vote, and it's up for them to make a final decision. So I'm going to call it a placeholder, if you will. You could be right that they could come back and say, we're not ready.
I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just repeating what they told us. And if they told us that, 2016 is coming to a rapid close, so have they given us money back?
No.
Okay, so they told us they were thinking about it. They've come to the conclusion not to. And if they said they didn't want money in 17, why do we have a placeholder for them?
Well, it's on there as a placeholder, but it doesn't need to be. I think the point is that there's $320,000 in available balance, but then you can add that 125 to it because council's going to have to vote on that, or as you know, any appropriation from the open space ordinance, other than the appropriations for the bond payments. So,
And I think part of it is the fact that we know the work in the building is not going away. It's the timing of other grants that would help support it. So it is a placeholder. That placeholder could be pushed to 2018 or another year, but most likely we're going to be, putting up a share so they can raise matching grants. I think that's pretty much the plan.
No, they will. They will definitely be submitting another grant to the county.
Yeah, it was just based on what they told us, I
But
think,
you're
in
absolutely
October.
right. We have not heard anything back with respect to 2016 money.
And Jim, the 2016 numbers represent the encumbered money through ordinances. So,
oh yes.
so that would be another. If money were to come back, we would then.
Correct. Any ordinance that gets canceled, money gets reverted. If you were asking me, hey Jim, what's the the example that Museum of Early Trades and Crafts, if that were to be canceled with excess funds coming back, that would revert back. Bailey Eller, Memorial Park, any of those, since we're creating those by ordinance, when you cancel an ordinance, and we'll be doing a lot of canceling of ordinances in January, we'll talk about it a little bit, it will revert back to the funding source. So that automatically reverts back to open space. It can't put it anywhere else. It's got to go home, so they say.
Any other questions or comments? Right. Thank you. And move on to, Jim, you want to set up the 2017 capital budget plan? Bob Vogel is also here.
Bob Vogel's here to talk. This is kind of our first pass at looking at it. When council has the full document, the document will be available online as well. That has all the backup numbers for each department, road reconstruction, recreation, police, and alike. As council knows, and as hopefully the public knows, when you pass a capital budget, it's really passing a plan. Council has to vote on each individual capital ordinance as it comes up. But the point of doing this exercise is to make sure that what we're planning for, we're going to have enough money for in the end. So with that in mind, 2017, we have a total general capital ask of $4.7 million. Point to it right there. Last year, and we're planning this year to fund $3.8 million in the municipal budget. So wait a minute, Jim, 4.7, 3.8, what's going on with the math here? We have $800,000 that's unencumbered in that in the capital improvement fund, and we have $460,000 of ordinances that are going to be canceled, funds that are going to be canceled from various ordinances, 29 ordinances that are going to be canceled. That's going to happen in early January, the first council meeting in January, so that will give us enough to fund it. Really, the point of tonight is to make sure you all are comfortable with roads, road reconstruction, and milling and overlay. We felt it was very successful last year to get out of the blocks early, to have council kind of nod their head on those two numbers and on those particular plans so we could fund that amount early in January, go to bid in one main block for all the roads to be done, and road reconstruction, and another bid to go out for the milling and overlay. And so we're anticipating doing that again. So we wanted to bring that maybe more into focus. Bob Vogel's here to talk about those. Beyond that, I don't anticipate going into deep detail on the individual lines going forward. I do want to say that water and electric, there's certainly more information to come on that. You see a large amount being spent underwater, but know that we have a large amount of funds being already appropriated for the automated meters. That's part of that. And we need to have a more substantive conversation of the utility capital during January when we start rolling out the final results of each of the utilities for 2016 and alike. So tonight, the main focus is to look at the big picture here on this page and to drill down onto road reconstruction and milling and overlay. So I don't know if you have questions for me, if you want Bob to jump up and talk about milling and overlay.
So to say it for the third time, so the big goal here is nail down on the roads so we can get out the early bid package, and just any not get into the detail with the others, but just on any questions on a broad level on the other categories.
Correct, and we've worked over the past month, I'd say, 2 weeks with Pat on this plan, and it's still a work in progress. However, we feel comfortable with 2017 numbers where they are, and we'll talk more about each as the departments come up. When the police come up and talk about their budget and talk about their department operating, they'll talk about their capital when the fire comes up and alike. So those topics will all be covered during the budget hearings in January and February. But Bob Vogel is here to talk about roads and milling and overlay.
Thanks. So one of the other things that Jim might not have mentioned was one of the reasons the capital budget is reasonably robust for this year is we had a lot of professional independent input January, February, March of this year where third-party independent consultants came in on critical assets. Those are water, those are electric, and the sanitary sewer system. And we had individual asset management reports done, which you saw earlier in the year. But I just wanted to let you know that the capital budgets, as they were formulated for this include all those consultants' recommendations for the coming year. So you'll see some good ideas that probably you haven't seen before in the detailed line items. But I thought it was reasonable to mention that there's a fair amount of outside professional service that's lent itself to this particular 2017 capital budget. And the other thing with the road improvement program is that we did obviously the pavement condition analysis borough-wide this summer as well. So that changed our program a little bit with regards to roads that were included and how they were prioritized. But overall, a reasonable budget. I think it follows the strategic plan reasonably well. We did some checks on it as far as its goals, intents, and purposes with the strategic plan, and I think it works fairly well. If you would like, we can run through briefly the road reconstruction projects that are planned for 2017. This all on an attempt to get our program off and running early in February. So as far as reconstruction is concerned, we have proposed that Tracy, Valeview, Lathrop, Park Lane, Howell Street, Locust Street, and a portion of Central Avenue all be included in the reconstruction program for next year. For the mill and overlays, we have agreed that Kings Road between Cross Street and Seaman Street, Fairwood Road, Maple Avenue, Redmond Drive, Oxford Lane, Prospect Street, and a portion of Lorraine and West End Avenue that were not completed by public service this past year will be completed by the borough in the coming year. We can go through year by year. However, I think that we've spent a fair amount of time in terms of staging our road improvement programs over the next 5 years, so that's fairly well worked out as far as priorities are concerned. It did take some time. There was a lot of shuffling with pavement management over last year's plan. But I think we finally got it to the place where it makes sense to everybody, and so happy about that. One of the drivers we have is with cost this year is the Central Avenue project, which turned out to be a little bit more expensive than the money that we were originally, proposing to put into the Central Ave, which was essentially a mill and overlay the county would be doing. So Central Ave is, it bumped the overall construction cost for the reconstruction work up a little bit. As far as the road improvement program is concerned, I'm happy to take anybody's questions about any one of the line items.
Any questions or comments for Bob?
Well, let me say one thing first. So thank you, Bob, for getting this ready. And they reworked a good chunk of this based on some of the work that Frank did last summer. One of the reasons that we do need to get this onto the council agenda early in the year is with trying to redo Central, it's essential that we get as much of the work done during the summer as possible. If we're ripping that road up during the school year, it's going to be a disaster for us on many levels. So that's one of the reasons why we're advancing a lot of this now, so we can have conversations in January about actually appropriating the money.
So, in fact, the bid documents for the reconstruction program are currently ready to be bid. So that contrasts itself from last year, where we were kind of running a little bit late on the bid documents at this juncture, and it feels good to have them done early this year. So that's good news, and Central Avenue should be good news for us as well.
The other thing I would note is that's also being done in conjunction with the county. They're paying for a portion of the work, the actual resurfacing.
Correct. So the counties pledged their participation in the resurfacing costs and also for the handicap ramps wherever they exist on that section of road.
Carmella?
Bob, last year, we put aside like $52,000 just for sidewalks. Are we all finished with all the sidewalks that you think? No.
Wish.
No.
I wish. No, not quite.
I don't see it here.
Yeah, we have, it's actually a 4 or 5 year program. I think at the $50,000 level, we got a lot of work done this year, which was great. So it was nice to get all, I think at least 50 different sections of sidewalk in town were addressed by an outside hard service. And so that was very helpful to get us the trip and fall hazards off our plate. Yeah, but there's a multiple year program in terms of sidewalks. I believe after 5 years, we should be 100% caught up. And then we can get back to operations as far as, fixing a problem when they occur.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Start working on those bid packages. On to ordinances for hearing. Will the clerk please read the statement?
Okay, the ordinance that was introduced by title and passed on a first reading at the regular meeting of the council held on Monday, November the 28th, 2016. It was posted and filed according to law, and copies were made available to the general public requesting same.
I call up ordinance 66, 2016 for hearing.
Ordinance 66, 2016, ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $30,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for police firing range improvements.
I open the hearing on anyone wishing to comment or ask questions on ordinance 66. Please step forward, state your name and address, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Seeing none, I close the hearing.
Mayor, I move ordinance 66-2016.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
I declare ordinance 66-2016 adopted and finally passed, and ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in a newspaper and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. And now we're on to the second invitation for discussion, when you may come up and comment on anything that's on your mind at this point. Please step up to the lectern, state your name, your address, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Anyone wishing to be heard, please step forward. Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting. Since it's the last meeting of the year, there is no introduction of ordinances. Will the clerk please read the statement related to consent agenda resolutions?
Consent agenda resolutions will be enacted with a single motion. Any resolution requiring expenditure is supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any resolution requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All resolutions will be reflected in full in the minutes.
Mayor, I move Resolution 333-2016 through Resolution 346-2016.
I second.
Any that need to be pulled for discussion, or?
I just want to make a statement about the last one, so we'll pull 346, please.
I have a question about 334.
Or 346. Okay, so the consent will be 335 through 345.
333.
333.
333, yep.
Right, and then 335.
Yep.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
A motion on 334, please.
So moved.
Second.
And
How many cars are we expecting?
We're not sure.
my guess is a lot of people will probably possibly dropped off or carpools. I don't think we're expecting that many, but
So we won't need like a policeman there directing traffic?
no, I don't.
It won't be disruptive to the residents?
No, I would not imagine.
Thank you, I'm satisfied.
Yep. All right. Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
No.
Ms. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 346.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So I'm just going to say the same thing I did last year at this time on this ordinance and the year before, which is I fully support giving our management raises. In fact, during the course of the year, I've supported many increases for a variety of people. And I think that overall, people are doing a great job, but I think we need to be able to differentiate between our staff. And I've asked for this the last 2 years. I was told last year we get done this year. It hasn't. We're still being presented with the same 2% across the board raises. So as I said last year at this time, if it didn't change, I would continue to vote against it basically on principle. So that will be the reason for my no vote tonight.
And based on those comments, we have instructed administration to come up with a plan in one of the 2 meetings in January.
I'm going to be voting against it as well. I voted for the omnibus raises last year based on feedback from administration that we would have a different process this year. Absent that change in process, I also will be voting no. It has nothing to do with any of the personnel, nor do I think that we don't have skilled public servants. It's just, again, it's the methodology.
I must say, with some reluctance here, I share the concern over how we're administering these raises, and indeed we have discussed it before, and we will be discussing it next month. I will be voting yes, however, because there are more employees that deserve a merit raise this year than not, and I would hate to see us penalize the employees who worked hard and had a very successful year at the expense and because of perhaps those who performed less well. I too support the group, and I just think we need a better way of differentiating performance and reflecting that in compensation changes.
Astrid?
I agree with Ben, and I also think that it was partly our responsibility when we have a topic that needs to be brought up for discussion. Normally, the council member puts an agenda recommendation in as a way to either move the administration on or to start the discussion and to figure out a policy. So I, too, will be voting yes. Thank you.
Carmella?
I just want to say one thing about agreeing with Ben and understanding where Pat is coming from. And we had a little sidebar conversation about this. And I understand, the concept of merit raises and just general raises. But I'm pretty sure that every one of our department heads are extraordinary people. We live in an extraordinary town that's run very well. And I think that we have to, consider that there are some people that do better jobs than others. And, motivation is a great thing. I'm voting yes because, I use an expression in the executive, and you don't change horses in the middle of the stream. And at this point, it's just a little too late for us to do it. I did make a recommendation that we have these conversations during budget time in April and not wait until this point. And I also made a promise to my two peers here that in January, I'm going to write the agenda rec, and we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to get this done.
We can get a lot of signatures on that. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Catalanillo?
No.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
No.
There is no unfinished business. Approval of vouchers.
Public safety, $31,422.11. Health and public assistance, $7,797.08. Public Works and Engineering, $58,291.36. Community Affairs, $567. Finance and Borough Clerk, $6,071,250.15. Utilities, $708,999.86. The total is $6,878,327.56.
Mayor, I move the vouchers.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote?
Mr. Catalonello?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Only new business is everyone have a very happy and healthy holiday, and we'll see you in the new year on January 2nd. And for the last time, except for maybe absence, Pat?
After 3 years of doing this, I've gotten pretty good at it, so I move we close.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Oh, well, listen, we were not in trouble, like I said. Big responsibility. Very highly.
It wasn't quite sure.
That's it's really
Take some cool picture. You're the actual stuff.